keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. The will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. Okay, beautiful words of motivation for you for today. We hope that you're inspired and you're motivated to wake up and pull yourself together.
Yeah, and so that very motivation coming to you from that great Chinese Confucius. Well, what else do we need again but to bring you the latest updates of the news we have on the AM show?
So the news headlines now. We bring you up to speed on issues President Mahama touched on in the State of the Nation address on Tuesday.
Business owners say the address was not clear on the needed pragmatic plans to boost exports.
And youth unemployment and underemployment described as main barriers to the development of West Africa. We'll bring you the details of the stories. Also, textiles traders call on government to educate them on the importation of fake textiles onto the market. Stay on for the details. Well, traders in the textile business are calling on government to put in place measures to increase education on the importation of fake textiles onto the market. According to them, traders have not received any form of education as promised by government some months ago.
In order to check the inflow of pirated textiles into the country, the government constituted an anti-piracy task force. But late last year, the operations of the task force was suspended as a result of pleas from traders who claimed to be victims of circumstances. The government then assured them of starting a program to educate traders on the difference between genuine and pirated textiles.
I'm going to ask the Minister of Trade to allow a moratorium of the work of the Piracy Task Force in order that together with the market queens, they can carry out education to the women about the effect that pirated textiles have on our textile industries. If they can spend another 3 months and go to all the markets and educate the women, show them the different types of textiles and how to determine the pirated textiles so that the women are aware that, you're not allowed to do this. I think that it should help the situation.
But for over a month now, traders say they haven't received any education and fear this will affect their business.
Say, yeah, no, be a make say, where you design, and now when you design. Only so may be a screen no so. And say, when you design, so now designs. Na new ones now 1 year, no, yeah, new designs now 1 year. And the answer to oh, Mamma, the Amaya na yen say, wait, dear, one the banner be a Octa or Bachelor, and so up to now, be unfair, be my sir.
Ceciano, dealers no more than your mabano. Omo designs and old ones no HMOCONO. Into at present in a day, so omo bar your money de bi ojum, but omo benya be a printers for white no and they sell no omo de bar.
Me also super me relax na agbamoko kove. Ofia mu da ka for Tommy. Kaka nyoba ama ogava shama. Agava toshi paper rojinami. Ala bo people subo tano ga tan va shama atoshi pe paro jinamia anyo tami gba jancho ni anchi tani mi da togo ma mi gbani na togo toba no troshi la pe panchi.
Meanwhile, the National Task Force on Pirated Clothes has given cloth sellers up to April to dispose of their pirated clothes before seizure and destruction of pirated clothes begin in May 2014. Matilda Pamaga for Joy News, Accra.
5 young men have been arrested by the police in connection with the planned mob attack on 2 police stations on Tuesday. The 5 had planned a demonstration to revenge the death of another young man killed over the weekend at Asalam Down here in Accra.
The Kotobabe police station area was thrown into a state of chaos when police mounted an exercise to disperse and arrest the angry youth that had planned to attack the station. The exercise attracted several onlookers as the police patrolled the area.
when the moment we see motorbike and people holding that, there is a signboard. There is written on the signboard that fuck Ghana police, and the next thing we see that the policemen took car from the police station to rush the guys over there, and the guys, they start running away, and they start giving warning shots on air, and the next thing they started beating the boys, taking some of them into the car.
The police say they picked up intelligence that a group of young men had planned to attack the Nima police station Tuesday morning. Upon a tip-off, the police quickly rushed to the Nima police station to save the situation, but however learned the mob had diverted its routes to the Kotobabe police station.
Yeah, they were throwing stones with other machetes, trying to attack the police with placards. That's what we have experienced this morning. So far, we have used our riot equipment and we have dispersed the crowd. And we've got hold of 5 of them.
Earlier reports suggested armed policemen on night patrol opened fire and shot the victim, Saddam Abdullahi, who was riding a motorbike with another late Saturday after they defied an order by the policemen to stop. But the police, however, have denied killing him. The 5 arrested are soon to be arraigned before court.
Well, a lead economist with the World Bank has pointed to youth unemployment and underemployment as the main barriers to the development of West Africa. According to Dion Filmer, governments within the sub-region must consider investing more in household enterprises and the agri sector as they are the best ways to curb youth unemployment. He made these remarks during his presentation of the World Bank report on youth unemployment in the sub-Saharan region.
According to the World Bank report, over 11 million youths are expected to enter the labour market in the sub-region between 2013 and 2014. Majority of these youths are expected to work in the informal sector. Due to the growing youth population in the sub-region, the World Bank report challenged African leaders to reduce corruption in the manufacturing sector to allow the sector to expand and employ more young people.
You actually pointed implicitly to another 2 issues that enable these women, in the case of what you were describing, Gloria, cooking better, making better pie. Some of that involves investment. And access, and to enable investment, one needs access to capital. And that's where that financial inclusion story becomes really important. It is the one part of the physical structure, the space to do business, and the security that you're not going to be swept away. The other is access to capital so that you can invest in your business.
According to the report, not only does the exclusion of young people from the labour market perpetuate a generational cycle of poverty, but also breaks down social cohesion and can be associated with higher levels of crime and violence among idle youths. Touching on the manufacturing sector, the report challenged African leaders to invest more in vocational and technical training.
Which may surprise some of you. We think of Vietnam as being a country that's really gone through structural transformation. But actually, it has very much so in the sort of, when you look at output statistics, but perhaps surprisingly to some of you, the share of the population in agriculture is still quite high, still 50%. A key difference is, though, far fewer of those are living in poverty. Far fewer of those are working for very low returns. Work in the agricultural sector is more productive, and therefore it is a slightly more attractive place to be. And that's an important thing that we stress in the report, is to making agriculture more productive, plugging into agribusiness, indeed, as a part of that strategy, is a way of addressing some of these issues.
The report stated the challenge of youth unemployment in Africa is not amenable to simple solutions, but reflects the challenges and opportunities of the countries in a globalized world. Justice Kwesi Forson's report for Joy News.
President John Dramani Mahama has assured Ghanaians that power rationing will be a thing of the past, as a number of projects underway to boost power generation will soon be completed. Minister for Energy and Petroleum, Emmanuel Amabwa, meanwhile says is ready to ensure power producers and energy agencies have become more efficient. He's also optimistic it will meet government target of 5,000 megawatts of power distribution by 2016.
Independent power producers that are key to coming to add this generation were not coming because the environment in the energy sector was not attractive to independent power producers. It didn't make economic sense for them to invest. But because of the steps that the president has taken just within a short period of time, where now the tariffs are being readjusted and it's making sense, automatic adjustment, the fact that ECG is now being reformed to make sure that they address the issues of efficiency and responsiveness of customers are very critical. But more importantly, government ministries and agencies are also being responsible in the use of electricity. These are all critical in making sure that we have electricity. But that doesn't stop there. We need to make sure we expand transmission infrastructure and make sure our distribution bottlenecks are all addressed, reduce system losses. It is the only way. And then make sure we don't just increase generation this year and forget, and 5 years we don't add. If your demand is increasing annually, the president is saying we should keep our eye on the ball by constantly increasing generation capacity. And that's exactly what we are going to do.
Well, President John Mahama has announced his government is pursuing a progressively free senior higher education. The concept was the opposition NPP's major campaign proposal during the 2012 election. Giving account of his stewardship in Parliament on Tuesday, he said government is committed to making senior high school education progressively free. Gifty Andwapia has more.
Education was the third item on the president's address. An instant roar by the minority followed President Mahama's announcement that the Education Ministry is working on modalities to roll out a free senior high school model.
Prepared a report on the roadmap for a progressive introduction of free secondary education in Ghana. And mark my words, I said progressive introduction of free secondary education in Ghana as required under the 1992 Constitution. This roadmap will be presented to Cabinet for approval and subsequent implementation. Under the guidance of this roadmap, we can anticipate that fees for day students will be abolished at an estimated cost of 71 million Ghana cedis in 2015-2016 academic year.
On the 200 senior high school President Mahama promised in 2012, he said 3rd March is the rollout date for the first batch.
Government's program to construct 200 new community-based schools is on track. Architectural drawings, designs, and quantities have been completed. Sites for the schools have been selected, and the procurement process for the first batch of schools is currently ongoing. The start of construction works for these schools was held back in 2013 because of the detailed work that went into the preparatory process. I enjoin all you members of this House to join me for the commencement of the construction of the first batch of these schools next month. Precisely, Mr. Speaker, precisely on 3rd March. You are all invited.
Government had earlier indicated the schools will be constructed in batches of 50 over the 4 years of its tenure. Other interventions on education, as maintained by the president, includes an ongoing redeployment of teachers to deal with an apparent imbalance in rural-urban teacher distribution. He also spoke about improvements at the basic education level being extended to 1,900 communities. He said the removal of teacher trainee allowance, which has met some opposition, has increased teacher trainee intake from 9,000 to 15,000. He also announced a uniform fee payment regime instituted to ensure parents pay only what is appropriate in school fees. At the tertiary level, He noted that plans to convert polytechnics into universities is still on course, as sponsored research into skills on demand in the job market are also being pursued. This will be followed by a readjustment of the university curricula accordingly. Not much progress was reported of the Eastern University, except that work is on course to bring that promise into fruition. For Joy News, Gifty Andopia, Parliament House, Accra.
Meanwhile, President John Dramani Mahama has indicated government will continue to pursue measures to ensure sustainable health care for Ghanaians. The president, during his State of the Nation address, announced that government has released 50 million Ghana cedis to assist local pharmaceutical companies produce antiretroviral drugs to reduce the importation of such drugs for HIV/AIDS patients.
Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to announce that we are on track to exceed the target of a 50% reduction in new infections by 2015. We're also leading the way in sub-Saharan Africa with over 76% reduction in new HIV infections among children.
Key among the other interventions by government to improve upon healthcare delivery in the country is the construction of 12 new district hospitals in Sekondi, Dodowa, Garu Tankpane, among others.
Mr. Speaker, our policy is to provide every district with a modern health facility. The newly constructed Acquah Hospital has been equipped and is now open for use. This has improved the quality of health care in that catchment area.
The president also reiterated his commitment to construct 1,600 community-based health and planning services compounds throughout the country.
The compounds are staffed with trained nurses, midwives, and other auxiliary health personnel. They are located in rural and peri-urban communities, and they provide basic health care services, including antenatal care to pregnant women.
The president also added that government would upgrade the Legon Hospital into a teaching hospital and increase the bed capacity to 600 to help decongest patients in the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and other major facilities in the capital.
Well, President John Mahama has also been speaking about government's plans to improve upon existing infrastructure in the country. According to him, the results of the infrastructural development will be evident by 2015.
President Mahama outlined initiatives put in place to address the housing deficit, which he says now stands at 1.7 million.
Various state agencies have been tasked to finance and complete the projects that were being undertaken under the Kufuor administration. The Tema Development Corporation is working on buildings at the Cone site, while the Social Security and National Insurance Trust has taken over the construction of the units at Boteman, Asokorimanpo in Kumasi, Foforidua, Tamale, and Wa. Mr. Speaker, information and communications technology can improve the quality of life of our people. Just think of all the ways we now use our mobile phones.
He gave the assurance that the current water deficit in the urban areas will be resolved by 2015.
Between this year and 2015, the total water supply to the Greater Accra metropolitan area will increase to 158.3 million gallons of water per day. This will be enough, I said this will be enough, to tackle the water demands in the area by the end of 2015. And this is the good news. This will end the water starvation in the northern part of the capital city. So those of you, end of this year, those of you who live in Adenta, Hacho, East Legon, Agbogba, Madina, Abokobi, will all receive water. Mr. Speaker, the projects I'm referring to are the Kong Water Supply Expansion Project, the Kong Intake Rehabilitation Project, the Accra Tema Metropolitan Area Water Supply Project, and the Teshi Nungwa Desalination Water Project.
For the transport sector, President Mahama told the House the runway at the Kumasi Airport is being upgraded and modern navigation systems are also being installed for better services. He said the Kotoka International Airport is also being upgraded, adding a new terminal to contain the increasing traffic is under construction. According to him, the railway sector will also be revived during his term in office.
Ghana will witness a revival of its railway transport service. carting export produce to the ports and safely carrying commuters over various distances. As I speak, work on the Sekondi Kojo-Krom railway line is on track. Mr. Speaker, I've asked the team comprising the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Transport to actualize my plans for the railway sector, which includes the construction of a new rail link between Tema and the Buankra Inland Port, and then also the Western Rail Line between Takoradi and Kumasi, as a way of attracting more interest and revenue-generating activity from our landlocked neighbors.
Meanwhile, President Mahama has attributed the current turbulence in the economy mainly to dependence on exports of raw materials. In his State of the Nation address, he was emphatic that the economic challenges are temporary as a medium-term development framework is now in place to change the current structure of the country's economy.
President Mahama in his second State of the Nation address acknowledged the pressures on the economy and the unpleasant measures government have had to introduce to address the economic challenges. For him, aside the global economic slowdown that has trickled down to Ghana, the entire economy needs a radical change. He believes the difficulties that Ghanaians are currently facing will soon be over as government is working on an overhaul of the economy.
We must change the structure of our economy. We must reduce the importation of items that we have a comparative advantage to produce. I have dialogued with the NDPC that is working on this plan and urge them to come out with a plan that fundamentally addresses this weakness in the structure of our economy. I have specifically asked them to handle the process of drawing up this plan in a way as to create a buy-in from all Ghanaians, irrespective of political affiliation or societal status. I wish to assure this august House and the good citizens of Ghana that as with the taste of any bitter medicine, this turbulence we are going through is temporary. And I assure you that we shall begin to see the benefits of the sacrifices we are making very soon.
He expressed worry over the import-driven nature of the economy, stating that Ghana in 2013 alone imported produce worth $1.5 billion, with rice being the highest with $374 million worth of import. President Mahama, however, indicated that several projects are ongoing to strengthen the local manufacturing industry to boost exports and ensure patronage of made-in-Ghana goods.
A fundamental problem of our economy is that we do not make what we consume. Financing has been finalized for the construction of a new sugar processing plant in Komenda. This would reduce our importation of sugar. We are also in discussion with another private investor about the establishment of another sugar processing plant in the northern region near Sablugu. I have tasked the Cocoa Board to enter into a strategic partnership to produce jute sacks in Ghana. This will begin by the importation of the jute fiber and the sewing of the sacks locally. But it will be eventually backward integrated into the production of kenaf and the weaving of the jute fibers locally. Mr. Speaker, when this is achieved, Cocoa Board will be required to halt the importation of jute sacks for cocoa and buy all its sacks from this factory.
Although the recent regulations of the central bank are in full force, President Mahama urged investors not to panic as the country remains peaceful, safe and secure. He also assured investors that the repatriation of your profits is still guaranteed and the Bank of Ghana's measures will not affect the existing agreements with businesses. Abigail Admakwenchi for Joy News.
Some story just in say the Kumasi Central Market, which is described as the biggest open market in West Africa, has been ravaged by a second fire in just 8 months. Well, our correspondent Nuruddin Mohammed joins me on the line. Good morning, Nuruddin. I guess it's not so a good morning in Kumasi.
Hello, good morning, Mama V.
Yes, Nuruddin. Tell us more. How did this fire started? How did it start?
Well, according to traders here, the fire started at about 2 to 3 a.m. this dawn, and it has burned down over 100 shops at the Kumasi Central Market. Not all the whole market burned, but part of the market has been burnt. And as I'm speaking now, the fire service personnel are here fighting the fire. And getting into the scene is very difficult for the fire service personnel, and so it's quite they're finding it difficult to quench the fire. The part of the fire which is inside the market itself, Mama B.
So, Nuruddin, it means that the market is still on fire.
Yes, they've been able to quench part of it, but at part also, if you go inside, it's very difficult for them to go there, and the fire is still burning. But we are hoping that in the next few minutes, they will be able to quench the fire.
What is the National Fire Service personnel there saying about the cause of this fire?
Well, the cause of the fire is yet to ascertain, but we've been told by some of the traders that it is electrical fault. They are saying it is electrical fault, and that caused the fire. But the fire service personnel are yet to tell us the cause of the fire.
Tell us some reaction from some of the shop owners.
Well, they're very sad. They are very sad because some of them said they've left so much their properties in the market, and they didn't know that this unfortunate incident would happen. So some are crying, some are, thinking of what to do next. They are here. Most of them are here. Very, very sad. They cannot even tell us how much they've left in the shop, because they said they left so many things in their shop. Some left their monies and all. So they are here waiting for the fire service personnel too.
Okay, Nuruddin, we'll leave it here. We'll come back to you for more later on. Thank you so much for that report.
Nuruddin choking there, and many of these victims of the market fire in the Kumasi Central Market, of course, are businessmen and women. And talking about business, well, many of those operators have applauded the president for showing commitment to boosting local industries and ensuring that Ghanaians patronize made-in-Ghana goods.
For us to patronize what we produce here locally, that is the best gift that we can say that we have, because it belongs to us. It's ours. We know what we need, and we make sure that we tailor to suit our needs. Even those who import can start by adding value. Semi-finished, they start by adding value to whatever they bring down. Some of the things we can do here locally. And we have most of the raw materials here. Even the raw materials that we don't have, once we are able to plan, I think we should be able to add value and manufacture more items.
We did not see specifically some of the things that needed to be done to make the economy export-driven. You see, export-oriented. Even though we need that generally, you have to cover every areas of the economy, every area of the economy. But then the president could have been a lot more, specific, particularly when it comes to financing to small and medium-scale enterprises. In 2014 budget, the minister did indicate the setting up of 50 million Ghana cedi fund. Now, I was waiting, to hear that how is this fund going to be operationalized, and then that is something that we have not really as yet heard.
There are a lot of challenges. It has been said time and again that they create the enabling environment, but we don't know where the enabling environment is. Maybe if it's a garden somewhere, then we can go there and flourish. But on a more serious note, right from registering your business to tax issues and all that, it is just a hell of a problem in doing business. A friend of mine says doing business in Ghana is more or less like a punishment.
In essence, you're saying that you're not satisfied with the President's State of the Nation's address, because he made mention of the fact that they are making sure doing business in Ghana is really easy.
Well, as you said, he said they are making sure, so they've not made sure yet. But we are still hopeful. Okay, if it is not for hope, we will not be here, because it has always been difficult. It's not as if that it happened only yesterday. Since the dawn of dark ages, it has always been difficult running businesses. So I think that government it should be the primary responsibility of government to make things easier for private people to flourish.
All right, so that will be it for the AM News. Before we go, though, we'll bring you a recap of the stories. Now, we brought you up to speed on issues concerning President Mahama's State of the Nation's address, what he touched on, and the reactions.
And the latest news we're getting from the Newswise is that fire has gutted parts of the Kumasi Central Market, and we'll bring you details in the course of the AM show. But right now, we have next to look at sports.
And it's brought to you by Cowbell and Tigo. Stay with us.
Good morning, my name is Baba Tando and I bring you the latest in the world of sports. And we begin with the UEFA Champions League highlights. Last night, Manchester United went down again to Olympiacos away in their first leg tie in the last 16 stage of the UEFA Champions League, and they would have a lot of work to do when the return leg comes up. And David Moyes, the coach of Manchester United, he says that he was very surprised at the performance of his players, and Van Persie is saying, or he's alleging, that his colleagues are not allowing him to play where he wants to operate, because where the spaces in which he wants to operate is where his colleagues actually clog him. We also saw Olympiacos, not Olympiacos actually, but Borussia Dortmund beating Zenit St. Right. So Zenit St. Petersburg definitely have a huge task to finish in the second leg of that match, and so does Manchester United. Very, very Herculean task for them. I wonder how David Moyes is going to go through that. And I don't know if this is the beginning of the end for them, but we'll see what happens in the second leg fixtures. But coming up tonight, Real Madrid and Chelsea are both in action. So 2 round of 16 first leg matches coming up tonight. There's Galatasaray up against Chelsea, and then Schalke 04, they host Real Madrid in Germany. Let's come back to the local scene, and it looks like it's not only Manchester United who is suffering under David Moyes. Acquah who play in the First Capital Plus Premier League here in Ghana, are also having their own issues. And I mean, we're like 17 matches gone down in this current season, but the managing director for Hartlepool, Neil Armstrong Motagui, he says he still has ambitions for the season. The club does have ambitions for the season. Let's listen to him.
For us, we remain focused on playing our matches game by game, match by match. Whatever happens elsewhere should happen. But for us, we are focused on remaining a win-some side. Yes, it's true. The points difference is quite big. But like I said, in football, anything can happen. The other thing I'd like to say is that we launched a 3-year project, Restoring Phobia and Glory, by which time we expect to have repositioned Hartlepool at the top of Ghana football. The midway point of this season marked halfway through the first year of that project. So we are still on that project. It's a 3-year horizon that we have. If we get the bonus of winning the league this year, it will be wonderful. But we are working towards that 3 years where we expect to be back at the pinnacle and to remain at that pinnacle for a very, very long time. Who knows, we might be in a position to equal our Kofinsia feat of a few years ago where we won the league 6 times consecutively.
So today is Wednesday, and there are matches, midweek matches for the First Capital Plus Premier League across all league centres. Here are the fixtures coming up. Right, so at the Wa Park, we have Wa All Stars hosting Aduana Stars. Remember that Aduana Stars are coming back from a deficit after losing 1-0 at home to Acquah Hartsfield. Hartsfield are also hosting Ebusua Drops at the Acquah Sports Stadium. New Edibiase at the Bekwai Park, they take on Mediama SC at the Babayara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. Asante Kotoko in action against Amida's Professionals. Inter Allies, they face King Faisal at the Tema Stadium. Hazakes take on Ash Gold at the Sipon Stadium inside 2nd D in the Western region. Bichim United take on Liberty Professionals, and then at the Golden City Park in Brekum is Chelsea up against Bando Hearts of Lions. So see if Kotoko can indeed stretch their lead, or Hartsfield could keep the chase on them, or if indeed Ashgold or Kwando Hearts of Lions, who are all following in that order on the league table, can actually keep the chase on first place team Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Remember that now the gap is 10 points, so 40 for Asante Kotoko, 30 for Hartsfield, and then the rest follow in that order. But on midday, at midday on News Today, there will be updates of all of these issues and more. If you want more of these stories, you can also log on to myjoyonline.com and check out the sports page. Alternatively, you can also tune in to Joy 99.7 FM right about now for the Joy Sports Center. My name is Barbara Tando. Sports on the AM show is proudly brought to you by Tigo and Cowbell.